Today, my guest is Angela Blaha. About a year ago, I interviewed Angela here at Serenity Healing Center, and we have talked about her journey, her healing, and the healing that she's providing to those who come her way to heal their hearts and for guidance. And that's what she has been for me, the spiritual guide, the mentor, the support, and the most of all, she brought all these questions that allowed me to discover parts of myself that I have not known before. So Angela is the cosmic warrior, from school counselor through principal and professor, intuitive channel, entrepreneur, and to a soul mentor and artist. Today, I'm sitting again with Angela after almost a year of major transformation. Good morning, Angela, and welcome back after a year of so many changes. Here we are again, totally updated, I would say, changed, switched, shifted in many ways. I was reading your October 7 letter, and I was like, wow, blown away how you just chopped the parts of your business and transitioned to different thing. Maybe not so different because you were always an artist. You were painting, and your beautiful art I got to enjoy. It's on my bookshelf on the back. Beautiful flower. But I wanted to know what happened, how this happened, and what was the breaking moment that told you this is the way I gotta go.
So, as you know, I'm a channel of consciousness, basically. I mean, that's really my purpose here is, to elevate the consciousness or to shift it in some way, somehow. And so I listen. So I listen really carefully all the time uh, to the universe, to the consciousness, where it's moving, how it's shifting. And what I found in 23 in particular was how stuck the consciousness was, like people were stuck, like even 24, like there's still a lot of people who are stuck.
Yes.
And I just kept asking the question, okay, what's my new role? Because I can't continue down that path because it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And what's my new role? And so all I kept hearing was visual. You have to create the visual because seeing is believing. And I was like, okay, how do I do that? And then it was like, just use your skills, your art skills. Like you've always been an artist, just use them. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound like me. But, I'm always willing to try new
Okay.
things, do something different. So then I just literally listened. It was over time though. I didn't have like this aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly resisted the art piece for a really long time because I couldn't figure out in my mind like how I could incorporate it into what I already do or how I could make it more expansive. And so that had to come in into place. But it came in after I started painting.
Isn't that always the case? You gotta
Yeah,
put your hands on act, and then you go like, ah, yeah,
right,
let's keep going. I have
right.
hit the same wall, and when after reading your letter, I'm like totally resonating with this. I keep trying to promote what I do, go out there, put it on the social media. And other than my podcast with my friends, I don't find joy in it. I
Mhm.
feel like I'm forcing things. So when I realize what you are doing, when I saw what you were doing, and then you said I just cut it off and I just burned it and just moved on, I was like, this is the thing. And
Yeah.
then opening my awareness a little bit wider in what's going on in the holistic business area, it's like everyone is looking, searching for something else.
Mhm.
There's a huge shift coming, and
Yeah.
here's Angela already doing it. It looks like you are like in that over years. You said you have burned your business and created something new. It's like going through the phoenix motion, like, okay, this is done, I learned here, boom, crash it, next one, boom, crash it, next one. So now from you're still doing the healing though, right? You're still doing
Yes.
heart healing.
It's incorporated though, so which is the
Okay.
beauty of it all. And
Mm-hmm.
I've changed it from focusing on just one topic. I've changed it
Mm-hmm.
into, well, let's just generationally wipe all of it out because why do we have to go through all these layers? Because I don't
Mm-hmm.
really believe in layers. And why can't we just exit and create what we really want?
Mm-hmm.
What we really desire, which has always been my thing, is what do I really desire? What brings me happiness? What brings me joy? What brings me, that elevated state of consciousness where you're just blissed out all the time? Like I believe that we can be there all the time.
Right.
Um, you do have to be willing to let that old stuff go, that's probably the hardest part I think for people is,
Mm-hmm.
well, and myself included, I sort of resisted that for a while. Um, because it's like, because the mind can't figure it out, can't figure out how to make it all come together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I've noticed is when you get into that creative state, which, research has exemplified how it changes the chemistry in the brain and how you move from left brain thinking to right brain thinking and being in that state of channel all the time,
Mm-hmm.
which is really, that's the numinous part of us. Like that's the godly part, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
your higher self. That is where like you can feel it. Like you can like there's no resistance in that space. You just
Mm-hmm.
become an open soul, literally.
So,
So
um,
yeah, burning it down, I, I'm all for the Phoenix rising. And I think that not just in your own personal life, but in business, that has
mm-hmm.
to take place right now because, we're creating new businesses. We're creating in that creation kind of energy. Like you have to be willing to do that.
Yes.
Sometimes it's hard, but
It feels
like
like old ways don't
they
stick
don't work.
anymore. It don't
No, they
work
don't.
anymore. No.
Mm-mm. No.
Everybody struggle. I see that. I
Yes.
remember in one of our conversations at the beginning of the year, you said something in a way of we are transitioning from book-based knowledge, from that system into
Hmm.
that wisdom, inner wisdom, the wisdom of our
Right.
soul, reconnecting with our true essence. And I feel like this is it, right? This is that transition.
This is the transition. You have to, like all year through 23, I talked about creation energy. We have to move into that creation energy. If we're going to create a new world, what would it be like? Right?
Right.
Well, if you don't start with your inner self and moving in and that power of that creator kind of energy, like nothing changes. Like you're still just stagnant,
Right.
like there's no real sustainable change that happens. You might move from, I don't know, the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 14, but there's no real change. It's just like a,
It's still iPhone.
eh, exactly. It's still iPhone,
Yeah, you get
so
more gigabytes, you get better pixels, but do you really see what you need? No.
right. You're just changing layers is really what you're doing.
Yes.
But to move into that creator kind of energy, which is very inventive, it's very
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know, it's sustainable. Let's put
Mm-hmm.
it that way. It's very sustainable when you're in that kind of flow. And it's flow.
Yeah.
That's the other component is like you just flow, like all the ideas just are constantly coming in. There's no crisis, there's no struggle, there's no like regurgitating our traumas. It's none of that. Like all of that seems to be healed. And it's just like, oh, I'm just in this creation energy. Let's just stay here.
So in my journey, I set myself for a year of healing. That's what my thing was. I need to heal. Do you, from your perspective, do you need to heal, and do you really heal completely before we step into that full awareness and we tap into what makes us tick and what we can go out and present ourselves, our true essence, who we really are? Do you really have to heal, or can we expand and kind of do, not in layers, but making a space? I feel like when I'm healing, I'm removing that which bothered me, that with stuck energy, and I'm making room for the new things.
Mhm.
What's your perspective on that?
I think we do still have to heal because we have to change our beliefs. We have to change the way that we see things, our perspective, our personality. Like all those things have to change in order for us to expand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what healing is
Mm-hmm.
that transformation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that still has to take place, but I don't think that we have to do it in layers any longer. Like 10 years ago, it was just layers. I mean, that was the
Mm-hmm.
whole energy of it. It's all we knew, it's how we processed it. But I think it can be instantaneous now. And what I see with clients is it's very instantaneous. And
Mm-hmm.
we can heal and expand almost at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, you do it at the same time. But I mean, I'm talking, like big jumps of
Mm-hmm.
expansion. I'm not talking about layering kind of expansion. I'm talking about you just get rid of that person that you used to be, or you incorporate it and you
Uh-huh.
say, oh, okay, I don't want to be that person anymore. I really want to be this one.
Mm-hmm.
And you directly move into it. There's no like, gee, your confidence isn't there, or, your self-worth, those worthiness kind of issues that really stop us from growing. Like all of those kinds of things just seem to automatically transform. It's not really work any longer. It's not really healing like we used to think of healing. It's very
Mm-hmm.
immediate.
So you said that you learned a lot about yourself, through this process. Can you share a little bit?
Of course, I've learned, there's just so many things. What's most important here? I think I've learned how easy it is to like literally um, be in a state of elevated consciousness all the
Mm-hmm.
time. Like I used to be fairly conscious, but I would move in and out of it. Um, it's not like it is now. That creator kind of energy, like it
Mm-hmm.
holds on to you. And it's like the happiness that it brings, the state of always being satisfied that it
Mm-hmm.
brings. Like I learned that I could be satisfied all the time. Like, what? I grew up not believing that. I grew up believing in struggle because that's what I was taught, all those kinds of things, the traumas, the addictions. And being in this state all the time now, like all my relationships have changed. They're deeper, they're like more meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get drawn into the not that I really did before either, but there was still certain parts of it that it would be like just throw me off kilter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the not caring or the deep caring that I've always had for humanity,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the anger around that, like why do we have all these atrocities? Why do we have all these belief systems that just hold us
Mm-hmm.
back? Like I don't have that any longer. It's more, well, let's just get them into creation energy, and then we don't have to worry about any of that. It's just like the shift is very dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, not in a bad way. It's very dramatic in a very positive way because
Mm-hmm.
the you become a magnet to your true desires, and manifestation is like super easy. Like there's no working.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no
It's a
working.
different flow, right? You don't
It's
fight.
there's no fight whatsoever. There's no internal fight, which is
Mm-hmm.
really important, I think, in where we're headed as a
Mm-hmm.
human race. And what you see out there is like it's not even important because you know that you're the cultural shift,
Uh-huh.
right? Like everything I do, like that all comes into play any longer. It's like, wait, if I'm creating this, how can I shift the culture?
Yes.
It's more, it's not necessarily, it's internal for yourself, but there's also that component of I'm here to shift the culture.
Yes.
Like like I'm not angry about the culture any longer. I'm here shifting it, you know? And so that was a huge I think that was a pretty huge transformation for me was I don't have any responsibility in shifting culture, but what I create to
Mm-hmm.
help the culture shift,
Mm-hmm.
like I can see how impactful that is now.
So, my belief is and that has changed over the years, obviously, as my awareness was expanding. But I went from I have to fix everybody, I
Yeah,
have to help somebody, to finally realizing, as you said, going inwards and healing myself and expanding myself helps to expand consciousness around, because
mhm,
it's sort of like when we are certain energy, we bring same like energy to us.
mhm.
So if we emanate different energy, that energy expands and we bring more and more of the same. So healing myself is, in a way, healing everything around,
Totally,
right?
yeah, because your relationships change,
Right.
and when those relationships change, then they change and they change their relationships. And then, it has that whole domino effect,
Yeah.
which is the beauty of it all. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I'm amazed how how much has changed from the first time we were talking to today, and it's like everywhere, everywhere. And what would you say was the most significant change within you? Like, was it just the way you think, the way you feel? Was it everything, or was just one thing that has changed and then pulled everything with it?
I think it's the way I feel. Uh, being a channel of consciousness, like I could feel how the earth was transforming and all the battle energy kind of energy. Like I could feel all of that. And I think I'm sure I carried part of that with me everywhere I went
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, but now I can feel the revolution,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and revolution doesn't have to be bloody battles. Like
Uh-huh.
that's the human past. I don't think that
Mm-hmm.
this is, I think what revolution that we're in now, could it still end up that way? Of course, because humans are unpredictable. But but the revolution energy, it's very deep and it's very
Mm-hmm.
much bringing that soul into your existence
Mm-hmm.
versus ego or the mind, that the thinking mind. But the soul is also a mind, and that's where all the ideas come through. And so it's really bringing in that kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
um and I'm not sure that we actually embodied that feeling before, but now it's very powerful. And
Mm-hmm.
it's that whole feeling of I am the revolution, not let's create a revolution.
I am the change. That's what I say. I am the
Yeah,
change. I
yeah,
change whoever I need to heal. It's me. Whoever I need to change is me, and it goes from there. It's like being even the smallest cell in a family, right? You
mhm,
in your family, as you begin to change, your family will change, and then your friends will change, and the circles just go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So
yeah.
how do you incorporate your love of art now into your work? Can you share a little bit?
Yes. So I'm starting the Numinous Guild, which is how I'll be teaching it all.
Mm-hmm.
But really, art is the tool that we're going to use. Art and meditation are the two tools that we're going to use to um, release from the old.
Mm-hmm.
And when we use, that creative process, whether it's, I mean, it doesn't have to be, drawing or anything like that. I have a gazillion ideas for just for the expression of it. You're
Mm-hmm.
expressing, really that's what art is the expression of an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that process, that creative process that is incorporating into what I do now. So has nothing to do with drawing skills or artistic skills. It's
Mm-hmm.
really working that process of, oh, are we in flow now? And if we're in flow, we know that the next step in the process is probably crisis. Well, how can I avoid crisis? Can I go right back into idea formation?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's really about building your life through that creative energy,
Mm-hmm.
that creation kind of component. So,
So anyone can join your program. They don't have to be an
absolutely
artist from the bat. What if my art is sound?
perfect. You can create with sound.
Well, that's where I feel like I'm looking for language to communicate, and I
Yeah.
feel like the sound, and it not language, spoken language, just language, the way I wanna express myself, as you said, and
Perfect.
I feel that's what it is for me.
Yeah, perfect. It doesn't have to be art. Some of the, if you can express yourself through sounds,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's some of the highest dimensional frequencies that we can actually raise people through. And if we can actually, and some people totally resonate with sounds, right? Some people don't resonate with sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So so any form of artistic or creative energy is really what I'm promoting here. It's really what we need to move into because we can't create a new world if we're not actually moving through it.
So I always have you as a master of questions. So for those who are lost or unsure of
Yeah.
what would be a great question or questions we could ask ourselves to put us in that right direction, to feel where we need to be, that space to be open to it.
Well, I think you have to start asking with what is it that you really desire? And that's a really hard question for people, but you have to continue to ask it. Um, you know, if you're unhappy, which, 95% of humanity is, can probably relate to that at some point in their time, in their lifetime. But, it's that space of not knowing who you are, what you desire, um, really being in connection with your deepest self, that's where the problem lies. And so any kind of question that you can ask yourself around that, why am I feeling stuck? You know, not how. We don't want to ask anything about that because that just pulls you right into the ego mind or the left brain thinking, which is very linear. You really want to be in that right brain kind of energy, that creative kind of energy when you're asking the questions, because you'll just continue to stay stuck. So, what is it that you really desire? And we have a lot of fear around that,
Yes,
you know? We have a lot,
definitely.
we have a lot of fear because your self-worth comes into play, your enoughness comes into play, your can I do this? Come, your confidence, your determination, your motivation, like all the things come are wrapped up in that fear of actually being who we being coming here and actually living out what we came here to live out.
So
Like we have
can we ask ourselves then, who am I when I'm happy?
you can, it's not expansive though.
It's not okay.
Well, because it's a state of being, it's a experience that you have had roller coastery probably over your life. So maybe a better question is, who am I if I'm feeling blissful all the time?
Okay, here we go. Angela's question.
That's it takes you into a different elevation, right? It takes you into a different frequency. It takes you into a whole different vibration. And that's really the kinds of questioning that you're looking for when you're expanding, when you're trying to move, when you're trying to be motivated anyway, you know, being confident. How can I be more confident? That's just going to keep you stuck in that vibration. How can I be motivated to be better, to do better, to respond better? That takes you into a whole different vibrational frequency. And that's what you're looking for when you're looking at questions for
All
yourself.
right. So every question I will ask myself, I will magnify it to
Exactly.
expand.
Exactly.
Learning process, expanding.
Well, start using words that sort of create a what do I want to say? Like a scratching kind of. Ooh,
Uh-huh.
desire. That's a
Uh-huh.
huge, it's a huge word that creates a resistance. You know, we have a lot of fear about that word. We relate it sexually, some places. Like there's a lot of cultural um, connotations to that word. And so if we can just use the word and look at the word, the energy of the word, the go on Google and search what the meaning is. What's the original meaning of the word? And it sometimes just doing that erases or destroys some of the perspective that we've had around it.
Oh, great advice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Hmm.
do Google a lot of words meanings, just because English is my second language, so I have to do it sometimes anyway.
Yeah.
But this is a great way to totally expand awareness and
Hmm.
switch or shift our perspective on things.
Yeah.
It's it's a great tool. Asking questions. I always say Angela would ask a question, and that kind of goes remotely in my head. The question. I have to ask myself the right question, because you can ask a
Hmm.
question and that can brings you down,
Yeah.
and you can ask a question that scares you, and you
Right.
can ask a question that I feel like it would kind of bring you up. So would there be a feeling associated with the right question? When I ask it, I know this is the right question.
Well, I think, especially if the word, like, let's take desire again, or vulnerable is another one of those words that, the original meaning of vulnerable means that you leave yourself open for attack. Why would you ever use that word?
Right.
I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm leaving myself open for attack. Okay, it's fine to recognize that, but what would elevate that? What would shift that? What would change it? If I'm feeling vulnerable, what do I need? I need confidence in who I am. I need motivation to change. I need, there's a whole bunch of things that we probably need for that. I need to, like understand myself better and that I'm opening myself for attack. Do I really want that? Is that really a desire? Is that the frequency that
Yeah.
I really want?
No, no,
You
no,
know,
no.
you have to start asking yourself those kinds of questions of, is that really what I want? Is that really what I'm desiring? Okay, if I'm feeling vulnerable, how can I take that energy and get what I want? How can I use, if I am vulnerable and that's the frequency, then how can I take that energy and actually move it into a desire? Just because it's at a different vibration than what you really desire over here doesn't mean that you can't use it, you know, to get what you desire. If vulnerability is a strength for you, then you should absolutely use it. But for most of humanity, they don't even understand what the word means. So, when we're looking up these things, you have to start saying, okay, what frequency is that for me? And you can feel it in your body. Every one of us can. And then really saying, oh, is this really what I want? Probably not.
Yes.
What's a better way or a better question or a better feeling to have?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to use sound to change the frequency. Maybe I need to use art as a frequency. Maybe I need to go out walk in nature to change the
Mm-hmm.
frequency of that. Well, when you do that, you move into that conscious space of being an open channel, and that's where the information resides. That's where all the wisdom is. Otherwise you're just in your left brain thinking, oh, gee, if I did this,
Yeah. Listen
step
to
one,
your
two, and
heart.
three. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Listen to your heart. So,
Yeah.
going back to your art and colors, do you have a favorite color? Is there a color that it's your team now?
I have, yes, I have several colors. The color of that aqua color of water,
Uh-huh.
one of my very favorite colors, and the color of a sunset, like that orangish, yellowish,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful color. Those are my two favorite colors in the whole universe. Um, the other color would be like a deep purple and a blue because it
Mm-hmm.
takes you into the depths. Um, so those are those are my
What
go-tos.
what are the emotions when or the feeling that is associated with that aqua color for you?
Expansion.
Expansion.
Hmm.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that teal. Teal is similar.
Yes.
And yeah, I think teal and whatever I have on me today, I like this color too. It's like maroon kind of
Hmm.
color. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you like those colors? What do they do for you?
Why? I like those colors because somewhere I heard those are the colors of unity. I don't know if there was conversation with you or one other of my teachers, but the color came up with the unified being, and as I learned from you and conversation with you and your guidance, the energy that I came with was the energy of unity. So I'm still looking for the language to express that. In the meantime, creating little things here and there for my aromatherapy retreats. But I do like this color because of that. The teal color because it connects with me with the soul, and you're right, when you are in that connection, it expands you. It
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel a lot larger than this human body that you are
Hmm.
in, that your consciousness resides here. So
Yeah.
that's that's
I,
it.
I feel like the meanings and the energies of color have also changed. Of course, if you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna, if you're creating a new self, a new world, they will have
Mm-hmm.
different expansion qualities or
Mm-hmm.
contraction qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that's something that we need to be open-minded about, that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, blue doesn't mean whatever it used to mean. It probably means something totally different now. And that all the different shades and
Mm-hmm.
colors and color combinations
Yeah.
um, are very they mean different things now.
Yes. I feel like they almost got different dimension now.
Hmm.
It's like they became from flat, they are expanding and they
Yeah.
are getting like a form in them. Almost like if you have triangle, it's just a simple triangle flat. Then you make it a pyramid and then you expand it and it grows dimensionally. And the
Yeah.
same thing I feel it's happening with colors. So for me, this color may mean when I say white, I see the clouds in the sky and like angelic stuff. That's what white and purity. But it could mean totally different thing for somebody else.
Right.
But that expansion in color, I feel like this is this is what comes out right now.
Hmm.
And when you paint, when I see your art, that's what I see. It's your paint is not flat, it's thick. It's dimensional. If I can say it in a simple language.
Yes. Yeah, it's not, they're very coded, energetically coded. And
Hmm.
when people come over and, just like I have a couple friends who just go over and sit and look at them because they're just so, I don't even know how to explain them, but
Hmm.
that's my whole intention behind the art that I sell is these have to be activators. And
Oh.
not just one activation, they have to have multiple activations and
Hmm.
they have to help people grow and expand and the evolution of humanity.
Hmm.
And so they're very, yeah, they're different.
So the flower that I have described at the beginning, as a summer dress, the
Mhm.
lightness in it, what was it for you when you were painting it? What did you see? What did you feel?
Yeah, so those were gifts that I gave to everyone who purchased something. I can't remember what the purchase was, but anyway, what I did was I just channeled your soul energy,
Um,
and I drew it. Uh, yeah, basically your soul took over and drew whatever it was. So
hey,
and
I got
added the
my soul
colors.
flower.
Yeah, you do for
That is
sure.
so amazing. Thank you. I did not know that before, but
Yeah,
I do love it. I love it. I love what you are doing. It's to me it's amazing when someone can express who they are in this deep and visual and still, like, I can energetically do something, but when human eyes can see something and
hmm,
experience internal change, there is a different level of
yes.
influencing. So I really love that about your art.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you got a
Thanks.
lot of new things going on.
I
Aha.
do. I do. Yeah.
So what can we expect? I know you had few posts on Facebook that you have the groups, and we can join the groups and learn with
Mhm.
you through our art. What's coming up next?
The next after that are retreats,
Okay.
where we take a deep dive, and uh, they're going to have something to do with portals, like creating portals, structures of um, your desires,
Mm-hmm.
who you want to become, and then those are going to be like very transformational. Like there's like I can't even express. I don't have words to explain those yet.
Sometimes we just don't carry the vocabulary until we're
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, they're definitely experiences. Like that's the focus moving forward is um, you know, how can we have these deep, profound experiences that we come back and just create the life that we desire and we don't have any fears about it. So,
Great. So your
yeah.
retreats are in person?
S- Yes, in the future, well, next spring, I'm going to have some retreats. They will be in person at first, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Okay. We're still growing, we're expanding, we are not done yet, right?
exactly. Exactly.
Keep rolling with that. Angela,
Yes.
I am so grateful for your time. I am so
Oh,
grateful for all the knowledge that you have shared and you sharing, and everything that you are creating is so precious for the world and for every one of us. So I will post where we can find you, but definitely look Facebook Angela Blaha, and you can go from there. Or where else? You still have
um,
your website, right?
I do. It's in the midst of change, of course.
Refurbishing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's angelablaha.com is the webpage. And yeah, we'll see where everything grows from here. So I'm excited.
Right. Congratulations, good luck, and
Thank you.
I'm anxious to see what else you have. So thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Yes, thank you.
And see you next time, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Next shift. See you next shift.